This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 47 and verse 1. It says, "Come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon. Sit on the ground, there is no throne, O daughter of the Chaldeans, for thou shalt no more be called tender and delicate. Call hello Yahweh, Mahashim, Hamashiach wa Malak Yahweh, for giving me the spirit and power to do this lesson." All right, so we're gonna go over today. We're gonna deal with uh America, Babylon the Great, but I'm gonna read Daniel chapter 3, and I'm gonna compare the two, right? Because this place is called the Virgin Daughter of Babylon. This place is called Babylon the Great, right? Just like the ancient Babylon, right? And it goes back to Babel, which Babel goes back to confusion, right? Just like the first Babylon was powerful and there was a whole bunch of confusion. This one is a greater Babylon with even more confusion going on, right? But if you read Daniel 3, it goes over how everybody bowed down to the image, right? And that image today that everybody there, that the same Babylon is going to make the people bow down to, is not actually a golden image. It's actually what they call, what we know as the mark of the beast, according to Revelation chapter 13 and 16, right? But we're going to read Daniel chapter 3. But before we read Daniel chapter 3, I want to go to Revelation 17, and I'm going to just get the point. 17 and 4. So this is Revelation 17 and 4. It says, "And the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand, full of abominations and filthiness of her fornication." Right. So the pearls and precious stones and all of that goes in a scarlet color, goes into how beautiful America looks. Right. Right. We know that America is definitely in the Bible. America is the greatest kingdom that ever was on the face of the earth. So it has to be in the Bible. So we know America in the Bible is Babylon in Revelation, right? When you hear about the destruction of Babylon in Revelation, this is talking about America, if you didn't know that, right? But it's talking about how beautiful it looked. And then it said it had a golden cup in her hand. That golden cup goes back to Jeremiah chapter 50 and chapter 51, and it goes into the fornication, right? It says, "And having a golden cup in her hand full of abominations and filthiness of her fornication," right? Because this place promotes fornication at an all-time high, just like the ancient Babylon did. That's why Nebuchadnezzar set up the statue, right, and made everybody bow down to it. And like I said, this Babylon is far more greater. We're in a time of what we know as the Jetsons, or the fourth industrial revolution. So they have a even advanced way of you worshiping this same situation, which is the golden image through the spirit, right? But it's really the RFID chip. You know, believe it or not, bro, they gonna come at everybody with this. And for the record, when I say come at everybody, Esau, you have to understand this. Esau knows that he can't get to everybody. So that's why he's doing things like purge law, because he wants everybody to cause all this hell, slaughter each other, to where there's no, they just want help. And then he's gonna set up these certain stations. That's why he's closing down hundreds of Amazon stores. That's why he's closing down Walmart, because these are going to be your local chip stations. And if you want their help, you got to come to them, right? It's going to be too chaotic out here. He's going to be like, you got to come to me for help, right? But when you go to that FEMA camp, you're not coming out unless you got that chip. Straight up, man. We can put two and two together here, right? So in that day, man, if you don't remember anything, in that day, do not go to a FEMA camp. Do not seek his help. Why shouldn't we seek his help? Because this is the same man that caused the chaos, that he's going to say that he can help you from. That's how the devil works. Uh, Problem, reaction, solution. Order out of chaos. That's an old Roman rule. That's exactly what the Romans did to us before. Nero burned down Rome and he blamed the Israelites for it, so that he can, so they can mess with us, so to speak. Right. So let me keep going on this. So it says, "And the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand, full of abominations and filthiness of her fornication." It says, It says, and upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery, Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth. So the first thing it says is mystery. So this is a mystery, wherever this place is, and whoever inhabits this place, right? Because John didn't have that answer, right? That's why he called it mystery. But when we go to Colossians, chapter 1 and 26, it says, even the mystery, it says, even the mystery which have been hid from ages and from generations, but now is made manifest to his saints. So this mystery, Babylon the Great, we know what it is. It's America, where we live, right? This place was prophesied back in the time of John. Man. He told us about this place, right? And not only he told us, we get to experience it and actually put two and two together, man. Especially with the RFID chip. If you doing your diligent research, you will see CBDC, CBDC, CBDC. That's all they're talking about now. Somehow the war, Ukraine and Russia, it just died down. Somehow this pandemic, it just died down. It's CBDC now. It's science and chips. They passing bills with science and chips. They just passed another bill where they literally put like 200 million into actually creating manufacturers for the RFID chip, man. That's how close we are. And we're coming up on a time, if you do not bow down to that image, it's the same situation in Daniel 3. You don't bow down to the image, there's a punishment for it, right? Unless you have the Lord on your side. Straight up. So let me read it again. And upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth. Right? So now, let's go to the ancient Babylon and get some understanding out of it. Right? So this is Daniel chapter 3, 3 and 1. Right? And first, because like I said, I want to get the spiritual side out of Daniel chapter 3. Right? But first, I want to get this in Job, just to show you that there's more than not, there's always two sides to the coin, right? When you pull out a scripture, it can have two meanings to it, right? And this is Job 11 and 6. And that he would shew thee the secrets of wisdom, right? So it's dealing with wisdom. It says that they are double to that which is, right? Like when we read in the scriptures, this is why brothers have two different understanding of the scriptures. And sometimes there's nothing wrong with that, because a brother might see the physical side of it and another brother might see the spiritual side of it. But we know the physical side of Daniel chapter 3, how Nebuchadnezzar ordered everybody, all people, language, and tongues, to bow down to the image. The spiritual side is it's going to happen again here in Babylon the Great. So when we read this, we can be like, damn, this is what it's already mapped out. And we see him doing it. Now we about to go over it. So it says, Daniel chapter 3, Nebuchadnezzar the king made an image of gold, right? Now, I can go get some books. I should have brought them with me. But I got some books in the house where literally in 1492, when they came over here, they worshiped gold. That's all they wanted was gold, right? They slaughtered the Native American Indians for their gold, man. That's all they wanted was the gold, right? And they were so greedy with it that they ships were sinking, trying to take the gold back to Spain, man. They ships were sinking because they had so much gold on the ship. It was weighing the ships down and they were sinking. This is how much they worship gold. So when it says Nebuchadnezzar the king made an image of gold, you can see the spiritual side of it. Right? It says, whose height was 80 cubits, in the breadth thereof 6 cubits. He set it up in the plain of Dura in the province of Babylon. Right? We're in Babylon. And a province is like a state. Right? It says, then Nebuchadnezzar the king sent to gather together the princes and governors and the captains and judges, the treasurers, the counselors, the sheriffs, and all the rulers of the provinces to come to the dedication of the image which Nebuchadnezzar the king had set up. Right? And that's the same thing that these Edomites do here. These are the first people they go and they're gonna make worship this image, which is the RFID chip. These are the first people they're gonna make do it, right? The people that have status, the people that can make a difference, right? The hierarchies, politicians, right? People that's in control of things. Because all of these people that we just mentioned is in control of something. They have a sweet purpose, right? So we always start with them. That's why when this pandemic came around, the first people they started with was doctors and nurses. You got to start with them, right? So let's keep going. It says, then the princes and governors, Salaki, verse 4. Then an herald cried aloud, to you it is commanded, O people, nations, and languages, right? Confusion. All nations was in Babylon. Not literally, but it was a mix of all nations in Babylon. And King Nebuchadnezzar set out a decree, right, that everybody should bow down to this image. But an herald is somebody, an official that carries forth message, like a messenger, right? So it says, then an herald, which is a messenger, cried aloud, to you it is commanded, O people, nations, and languages, that at what time ye hear the sound of the cornet, flute, harp, sackbut, psaltery, dulcimer, and all kinds of music, ye shall ye fall down and worship the golden image that Nebuchadnezzar the king has set up. Now, if you look at the spiritual side of this, music is everywhere, right? But in order to continue to listen to that music, pretty soon you're going to have to bow down to that image. And when you go into the definition, let me just get this real quick. I want to get the definition of image. Bow down. So you will be up to speed with the word bow down. Because when you go into Revelation 20, when the Lord said, "Thou shalt not bow down to them nor serve them," that's talking about agreeing to their demands, doing what they tell you to do. Right. So the word bow down, it says to show weakness. Hey, it says show weakness. You are being a weak individual, knowing who you serve, to agree to them just because of their threat. So that's weak because you have no faith in the Most High. You are a weak person. Hey, and they say, stand for something or fall for anything, right? So it's either you stand for the Most High and trust and believe in Him no matter what, even unto death, like the scriptures say, or you're gonna fall to this image and still get put to death. Because that's what the Bible says. The Bible says, those that consent unto him shall be had in derision and in reproach and trodden underfoot. That's what it says in Second Ezra. But I'm gonna read it one more time. It says to show weakness by agreeing to the demands or following the orders of someone or something. So when I read this again, so when I read this again, it says that at what time ye hear the sound of the cornet, flute, harp, sackbut, psaltery, dulcimer, and all kinds of music, ye fall down and worship the golden image that the king has set up, right? Which is bow down to it, or you agree to the terms that the herald came and proclaimed to the people. Now, the herald today is what we know as social media. The herald today we know is not social media, uh news reports. Those are the heralds today, right? Because they're going to be proclaiming this on the news, right? They're going to have things on the news like, if you know, if report to your nearest chipping station. Let's just say chipping station, whatever they're gonna call it. Report to your nearest chipping station, and if you see somebody who does not have this, there's a reward for this if you turn them in. Straight up, man. But let's keep going. It says, that at what time you hear the sound of the cornet, flute, harp, sackbut, psaltery, dulcimer, and all kinds of music, you fall to worship the golden image that Nebuchadnezzar the king has set up. And whoso falleth not down, falleth down is bowing down, and worship shall the same hour be cast into the midst of a fiery furnace. That's the judgment, right? And that's the same. It's the same situation with Babylon, the virgin daughter of Babylon, which is America. It's the same thing, right? It tells you that in Revelation 13 and 16 that you will be beheaded if you do not uh, accept the mark of the beast, man. The MOTB, the CHIP. If you do not accept that, there is a penalty for it. There's a judgment for it. That's why this place is called Virgin Daughter of Babylon. It's the same thing that happened in Babylon. Nebuchadnezzar set out the same decree. You worship this image by bowing down to it, you agreeing to it, or you get put to death, man. And they're gonna come with that same ideology pretty soon, man. So you gotta ask yourself, it's gonna be it's not a voluntary thing. It's gonna be you better do this, right? So you're being forced against your will to worship Satan, basically. You best believe that, man. This is real. We're so close to her. We're so close to this situation. Man, I don't be scared for myself. I be scared for my, other people that don't see it. Like they don't. People just walk around. They just live their life like nothing is going on, man. Like this shit is not about to go down. But that's why they doing these purge laws, right? That's why they did that in Chicago. In Chicago, it's not the only place they're gonna do that, man. They about to do this everywhere. They're not gonna tell you, but they're gonna allow this to happen everywhere, man. It's gonna happen everywhere. They want this to happen so they can set up this image, man. So it says, and whoso falleth not down in worship shall the same hour be cast into the midst of a burning fiery furnace. That's some scary shit right there, right? And if you look in the songs of the three holy children, I believe it is, it tells you how tall the fire was. Man. That fire was like 100 feet tall, man. No, Salakia. It was like 30 feet tall, but it was. They said that they turned the fire up. So you gotta ask, how the hell you turn fire up? The same way the Most High is gonna turn the fire up if you take that image, right? So you gotta make a choice here. It's either you get put to death by Esau, or you take it, and you get cast in a lake of fire. Straight up, that is poured out without mixture. That means it's going to be the hottest. We haven't seen hot, but the people that take that is going to see hot. They're going to see it's going to be so hot, man, that I can't even explain it to you. Only thing we can do is imagine how hot it's going to be, that fire, that lake of fire. And this is what Christians have been bamboozled. Christians have been bamboozled to think that the lake of fire or hell is going to be somewhere else, man. The lake of we are already here. We already in the big ass pot, right? We already in. Let's use this. We already in the fiery furnace, man. Only thing it has to be is just turned on, and turned on. Only thing it needs is the nukes to touch down. America, Babylon the Great is the lake of fire. That's going to be the lake of fire, the nukes. Now let me get it for you just to prove it. And it's crazy. That's what made me, because I was reading Daniel 3, and I'm like, damn. So back then you was threatened, if you did not bow down to the image, you're going to be cast into the lake of fire. But then when we read, I mean, not the lake of fire, the fiery furnace. But then when we read in Revelation chapter 14, he says if you do and modernize, if you do take that, you bow down to that image and take that, you're going to be cast into the lake of fire. So you have to choose, man. So this is Revelation chapter 14, and I'm gonna start at 9. Revelation 14 and 9, it says, I'm gonna start at 8. Yeah. It says, and there followed another angel saying, Babylon is fallen, that great city, because she made all nations drink of the wine of the wrath of her fornication. And the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, so like this ain't it. 1 second. I believe it's true there. So it says, verse 9, and the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast and his image, right, like we read in Daniel chapter 3, the golden image. So the Lord is telling you the same thing. Nebuchadnezzar, which is the governor, today's governor, they're telling you, if you don't bow down to the image, we're gonna put your ass to death. The Most High, like, if you bow down to that image, I'm gonna put your ass to death. So you gotta choose who you afraid of, right? It says, and the third angel followed them, saying, if any man worship the beast in his image and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of God, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation, and he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb. And the smoke of their torment ascended up forever and ever. And they had no rest, day or nor night, who worship the beast in his image and receiveth the mark in his name of his name. So the Most High is giving you the same judgment. He's telling you, if you do, if you take that image, you bow down to that image, and not only bow down to the image, which is the system, if you actually take, if you solidify bowing down to the image, which is taking that mark, he says you're going to go into the lake of fire that's burning with fire and brimstone, and he says you're going to be cooked in front of Yahweh and in front of the angels. So that means Yahweh and the angels are literally going to be watching you get cooked. And it says you're not going to have rest day nor night, right? And what Nebuchadnezzar was going to put you through, that was what, like an hour at the most. You going to be in there like 10 minutes. But I'm talking about for your body to just be getting rid of an hour to burn your whole body up. But the Most High says you day and night, you're going to be in that mud. And no, I don't believe you're going to burn in the lake of fire forever, right? But you're going to be in there for a period of time. I do believe that, right? So let's go back to Revelations, Daniel 3 and 6. And whoso falleth not down and worship shall the same hour be cast into the midst of the fire, the burning fiery furnace. Right? So the spiritual side of that is Revelations 14 and 9 through 11. Right? So the Most High is giving you a choice, and Nebuchadnezzar in America is giving you a choice. You have to choose this day who you're going to serve. Let me get that right quick. You have to choose this day who you're going to serve. Right? This is Joshua 24 and 15. And if it seems evil unto you to serve the Lord, choose you this day. Choose you this day whom you will serve. Right? That's the Lord giving you an option and an option. He's making you choose between good and evil, righteousness and dark and wickedness. We all have to make this choice. And I'm only saying that because that's what we're yet to wait on, is the great tribulation period. When we talk about the great tribulation period, that is talking about when everybody is forced to take the Quran, my man. All that shit you got in your house, you're gonna have to choose. You're gonna have to leave that shit behind, or you're gonna take that mark and keep your material belongings. Now, I will say this: we can all say what we're gonna do. We can all say that. That's easy. But when that time comes, right? When that time coming where they actually announcing it, and supposedly in 2023, you're gonna start sweating. Because you're gonna know, man. A lot of people gonna use their children as an excuse to take it. Some people just ain't gonna care. I had a dream. That's how I know this is real. And man, not only I had a dream, my wife had a dream about it too. She had a dream about it. Brothers are, and like I said, an elder brother had a dream about. People are having dreams about this RFID chip. If it's not the mark of the beast, then what is? And why are you have to explain why we having dreams about this? And don't say you don't know. Don't say I don't know, but I know it ain't that. No, explain why are we having dreams of this RFID chip. I know why. Straight up, I know why. Because the Lord is showing us what's to come. And like I said, it tells you in the scripture. Let me finish this out. It says, and if it seems evil unto you to serve the Lord, choose you this day whom you gonna serve. Whether the gods which your fathers served that were on the other side of the flood, or the gods of the Amorites, in whose land you dwelt. But as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. That's a decision we all gonna have to make. And like Officer Tahoe on my way say, don't say you don't. Don't say you won't. Pray you don't. And that's a real thing. I was actually thinking about doing a video over that. Don't say what you won't do. Pray that you don't do it. Right? So let's go to Revelation 13 and 16. And he calls all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark. And that word mark goes back to charagma, in their right hand or in their forehead. Now, verse 16 is touching on everybody. It says calls all. It says great. It says both small and great. From the smallest of the towns and villages to the greatest of the cities and states and countries. To the rich people who think that they too rich, they ain't gotta listen to nobody, to the poorest people who don't have nothing. Right? What do I need to take that? I don't have nothing anyway. It don't matter. They want you to take it. Right? It says from free, right? I'm not a prisoner, to the ones that's bound in prison. Even the ones that's in bound gotta take it. It says to receive a mark in their right hand on their forehead. You gotta take this, man, or you will be considered an outcast. And you know what Esau does with outcasts. When I say outcast, you know what he do with immigrants. You got to go to a FEMA camp and show me any video, article, anything of them letting them out of there. Once you go in them FEMA camps, you're not coming out. So don't go. Right? So it says, and that no man, so that's the first part of it right there. It says, and that no man might buy or sell, save, and the word save means except he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. Right? So you're not gonna be able to buy or sell without this thing. You have to buy and sell, man. You have to buy and sell. You need to buy and sell. Right? You need to buy groceries, clothes, the daily necessities. Right? Like it tells you in Sirach 39, the principal use of whole the prin- I don't have my pockets on me, so I gotta get it on the phone. The principal things of the whole man's life. Right? So it says right here, Sirach 39 and 26. The principal thing for the whole use of man's life are water. Now you have to buy water. You can't even drink the water in your faucet. Right? Like we buy this, Pure Life. This is what we drink. We don't drink out the faucet, but we have to buy this. Right? So it says water, fire, right? And that fire goes into the things that you use for fire. Fire, right? Like your oven, that starts a fire, right? Your microwave, right? The things that you use, your central AC and heat, right? That's you paying for fire. It says iron. You buy iron, right? It says and salt. You buy salt. Flour of wheat. You have to buy these things. Honey, milk, and the blood of grapes, which goes into wine. It says and oil and clothing. You have to buy all of these things. So when we read Revelation 13 and 16, he's going to make a decree to where you can't buy or sell none of the daily necessities that you need in order to survive. He's going to make it to where you do not have access to that if you don't take the mark. That's a real test. That's what you have awaiting you, man. While Esau over here wanting you to focus on Russia and Ukraine, this nigga passing all kind of executive orders. And then when you looking back at him and you focusing back on him, you realizing what's going on. He like, oh my bad, that wasn't nothing. Straight up, man. What the fuck is really going on in Russia and Ukraine? What's really going on? What do you see? We know we hear. But what do you see? You don't see nothing. Think about it. If it was really a war, why are they still buying, selling, and trading with each other then? Why? Come on, man. You know, stuff like that is a no-no when you in war. Why is America and Russia still having deals? Because according to them, that's where we get oil and gas from. So we shouldn't have no oil and gas. Let's just say gas. We shouldn't have gas. Because according to America, that's where we got it from. That's why they had to raise the prices. For us all smoke and mirrors, man. And it's all a deeper objective. This mark of the beast is coming so fast. It's not even funny, man. So it says, and that no man might buy or sell except say he that hath the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. You gotta, you have to have it, man, or you're not gonna be able to buy or sell none of the daily necessities that you and your children need. And that's how Esau gonna do you. And that's why Esau is doing what he's doing now. He's raising the prices on everything. It's a recall on everything. They just had a recall on ground beef the other day. Today there's a recall on chicken now. Just today. Think about it. Strawberries recall, peanut butter recall, cheese, butter, chicken, ground beef, all this shit, grapes, all of these, and they're gonna keep going down the list. Everything has a recall on it. And this is only so that they can pull these things away from you. Right? They said grain came from Ukraine. And then it goes into how cereal, all of these different things we use grain to create, to make food with, they talking about they about to take that away because Ukraine is going under, because Ukraine is fighting. But like I said, what do you really see? What do you really see? Straight up, man. And in America, they're bringing Ukrainians over here and giving them hundreds of thousands of dollars. You ask me, it's a different purpose, man. I believe they bring Ukrainians over here so they can help with push this order, this new world order. Right? What we know is, go look up the word sleeper cells. Straight up, man. But let's keep going. I want to keep going on this Daniel. All right, so Daniel chapter 3 and 6 again. And whosoever fall not down and worship shall the same hour be cast into the midst of a burning furnace, fiery furnace. Therefore, at the time when all the people heard the sound of the cornet, flute, harp, sackbut, psaltery, and all kinds of music, all the people, it says all the people, the nations and the languages fell down and worshiped the golden image that Nebuchadnezzar, the king, had set up. Straight up, man. That's what, and it's going to happen all over again. History repeats itself. The thing that has been, it shall be. Right? These people don't know what the hell going on. They don't know that the RFID chip is in the Bible, and if you, that's something you could not be forgiven for. You going in that lake if you take it. They don't know that. They neither do they care, because they don't read the Bible. Right? If they read science, they read Esau's science, his pseudoscience, they read that. They read Esau's books. They follow his philosophies and doctrines and his ways. Right? So they chose a side, man. They choose to bow down to the image. Right? The fourth industrial revolution. Let's keep going. It says, wherefore at the time certain Chaldeans came and accused the Jews. Right? Chaldeans are Hamites. But we just read in Isaiah 47, if I can get that again, because it was a point in there I want to get. Right? Because it talked about the Chaldeans. Right? Now, you have to understand, Americans are called many different names. Right? They're called Egyptians in Isaiah 19, because that ain't happened yet. Isaiah 19, they're called Egyptians. They're called Chaldeans. They're called Assyrians. They're called all the nations, man. They're called Greeks, Romans. Right? The beast is a mixture of all nations and their philosophies and doctrines smashed in one. Right? We was watching a movie. Me and my wife was watching a movie last night. It was called Split. Right? I don't know if you've seen that movie. You should watch it. But this man, His name was Kevin, but this man had 23 different personalities, right? And he really and when one of the personalities came to light, he didn't know the other personality. He only knew who he was acting. So if you talked about another person who he was acting like, he couldn't really tell you about because he acted whoever was in that life, right? But there was a one more char- uh, character that he always spoke about. He was like, uh, he was warning the people that he kidnapped about the girls he kidnapped. He would always talk about the beast, the beast, the beast. And at the end, the beast finally unleashed, which was him. It was all of the characteristics, the 23 personalities, they all came together and formed this beast, right? They all represented that gruesome ass nigga. He ate two of the girls, he ate them. But that represents the beast, all 23 of those personalities, right? So the beast and the book also is these nations blended together, their system, their philosophy, their doctrine, right? So it says, uh, Isaiah 47 and 1, it says, come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon, right? So we notice it's not talking about Babylon the Great because Babylon is called Babylon, the ancient Babylon. This is saying virgin daughter of Babylon, right? Why is it called a virgin? Because it tells you in Revelation, I ain't gonna get it, but Revelation 18, how she sit as a queen and no widow. And that's symbolic for she has not been touched. Right? A virgin has not been popped, right? Her cherry hasn't been popped, so she's a virgin. America's cherry has not been popped because America is known as a woman. We just read it. Mystery Babylon the Great, right? The mother of harlot, right? But symbolically, her cherry has never been popped, right? Which means she has never been invaded, infiltrated, right? So it says, come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon. Sit on the ground, there is no throne, right? So sitting on the ground is you coming to a low estate. You're losing your culture, your kingdom, you're losing everything. That's you sitting in the ground, sitting on the ground. It says, O daughter of the Chaldeans. Chaldeans, same thing. Chaldeans is the actual word though. So he's calling them Chaldeans. These Americans are also called Chaldeans. It says, for thou shalt no more be called tender and delicate. Why? Because the Lord is going to destroy them, right? So it says, Daniel 3 and 8, wherefore at the time certain Chaldeans came near and accused the Jews. They spake and said to the king Nebuchadnezzar, O king, live forever. Thou, O king, has made a decree, right? And a decree goes back to a policy, a rule, right? If the king says something, you better do it, right? Straight up. And sometimes the king he will put his signet on it, like he would stamp it, right? Like if you read the movie, if you watch the movie Risen, right? When they covered Yahweh's tomb, the king put a stamp on it, meaning nobody better not open it. Nobody better not open it. If the king put his signet on it, you better not touch it. Right. And I think he did that in Daniel chapter 5, I believe. Right. When they with Bel and the dragon, I believe it's Bel and the dragon. It's one of those chapters. But the king put his stamp, his signet on this room that nobody could go in there, man. And somebody went in it and it made the king wrong. Right. But in Ezra 7 and 26, it also says for us, just to back it up, Ezra 7 and 26, and whosoever will not do the law of thy God and the law of the king, let judgment be executed speedily upon him, whether it be unto death or to banishment or confiscation of goods or to imprisonment. And that is all up to the king's decision, right? And that goes right along for the heathen kings too. If you don't, in the ancient world, if you did not do what the king told you specifically, you were going to die. So here, when we read, if they did not bow down to the image, the judgment was death. But it was a horrific death, right? So it says, Thou, O king, has made a decree that every man that shall hear the sound of the cornet, flute, harp, sackbut, psaltery, and dulcimer, and all kinds of music, shall fall down and worship the golden image. And whosoever falleth not down and worship, that he should be cast into the midst of a burning furnace. Right? It says, There are certain Jews whom thou hast set over the affairs of the province of Babylon, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Right? So Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, they were set up because of Daniel. Daniel revealed the dream to Nebuchadnezzar. Nebuchadnezzar put Daniel over one of his states. And Daniel did not want to leave his brothers, so he took them with him. So they had high stature, right? And their high stature is going to be used against them, right? Just like it's going to be pretty soon, right? No matter where you work, we just read free, bond, rich, poor, small, great, it don't matter. They're going to be forced to take this mark, or there's going to be a judgment. Not only you lose your thing, but you're going to get put to death, right? So it says, There are certain Jews whom thou hast set over the affairs of the province of Babylon, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. These men, O king, have not regarded thee. They serve not thy God. Right? Righteous men. And we just read it in Joshua 24, where you got to choose. You got to choose this day who you're going to serve also. Right? Whether the gods that your fathers served on the other side of the flood or the God of the Amorites. But as for me and my house, we're going to serve the Lord. And you have to make that same decision. And like the brother always say, don't say what you're going to do. Pray that you don't. Pray to the Most High that you don't fall to that temptation. Because it's going to come upon the whole world. Let me get that right quick. This is Revelation chapter 3 and 10. Because thou hast kept the word of my patience. Right? This is Yahweh Shah speaking. Right? The suffering of Yahweh Shah HaMashiach is salvation. So he says, since you kept the word of my patience, you kept my word with patience, and you waited on me. Because that's part of your test. Enduring to the end, waiting. It says, I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation. And that hour of temptation is that mark of the beast. It says, which shall come upon the whole world to try them that dwell upon the earth. Right? And the trying part is going to be us being cast out our houses, man. Right? Let me get that right quick. Us being cast out. Second Ezra 16. Precept upon precept, line upon line, here a little, there a little. All right, so this is Second Ezra chapter 16 and 68. It says, For behold, the burning wrath of a great multitude is kindled over you, and they shall take away certain of you and feed you, being idle with things offered to idols. Now, like I said, Esau's gonna come in like a flood. He's gonna grab as many people as he can, right? And when I say many people, he's gonna go from to communities and sections and areas, right, of states and towns, right? Like the north side of Tulsa is where all the blacks is. Not just the north side, because you got South Tulsa also. But in South Tulsa, it's only 60% warriors. That's what we're going to teach. But then North Tulsa, the whole North Tulsa is the majority of is Jake, blacks, Hispanics, and natives. All right, so that's a place that he's going to try to touch on first, get to first, right? And you have the same thing in different places, right? Like Florida, Jacksonville is nothing but Jake out there, right? Uh, I'm pretty sure Houston and Dallas is huge, but then you got Oklahoma City, Midwest City. That's where all Jake is, And I'm just throwing these things out there because that's how Esau gonna do. He's gonna come in like a flood and try to capture as many as he can, but then the ones that he can't capture, he's not gonna try to capture everybody. What he's gonna do, he's gonna make all this chaos happen. He's gonna bring in the troops. The troops are gonna come and capture a lot of people, and the rest of them he's gonna allow to come to him. That's how Esau gonna play this out, right? And that's what the scriptures say. So this is 2 Ezra 16 and 68. Let's get a precept on it. For behold, the burning wrath of a great multitude is kindled over you. Who is that great multitude that's coming in with that burning wrath? Precept upon precept. Revelation chapter 12 and 12. Therefore rejoice ye heavens and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea. For the devil, that's who coming in with that great, that what it say, that burning wrath and that great multitude. The devil is come down unto you having great wrath. Ooh, there it goes. Great wrath, burning wrath, same thing. Because he knoweth that he have but a short time. That's why. He see us waking up by the thousands now and it's scaring the hell out of him. That's why he's pushing this so quickly. That's why he's making shit happen over there while he's doing executive orders over here, man. They didn't put Biden old ass in the White House for no reason. They knew that man was senile. This man making all kind of mistakes, man. They know that though. They just want him to sign. That's all. And they wanted somebody to blame. That's all it is. That's what it's about, man. That's why, think about it. China, North Korea, Russia, they all have the same president and been having the same president. They had the same president until he died. But America has a president every 4 to 8 years. Why? It's because of the laws and legislations that they passing, right? Like Obama. Obama came in the White House and took all of your rights away. All of them. If you want to know who took all your rights away, it was the so-called black man that they put in the White House, Obama. They distracted you by putting a so-called black man in the house so you can be happy, but at the same time, then he was your demise. Best believe that, man. But they put these niggas in here every 4 to 8 years, so when they gone, they can put the blame. They be like, just like how they doing now. They Obama fucked everything up for us, and then Obama's gone. So who you gonna blame? Now Trump coming in here. Trump fucked everything up, man, when he was here. But Trump is gone. You can't, who you gonna blame? He's gone. That's why they do that, man. From George Washington all the way to sleepy Joe Biden, man. They've been bringing these presidents in and getting rid of them so you will not have nobody to point the finger at. Sure, you can point the finger at Biden for the next 4 to 8 years. When he's gone, though, what you gonna do? What you gonna blame the new president? No. So these niggas is crafty, right? So reading this second Ezra 16 again. For behold, the burning wrath of a great multitude is kindled over you, and they shall take away certain of you and feed you, being idle, right? You being idle, right? Because that's what they're creating, an idle situation, making it where you can't go nowhere, you can't do nothing, right? You can't go buy and sell. That's what they're trying to do, and they're gonna do it because ultimately it's the Lord. Ultimately, it's the Lord's judgment. The Lord is about to judge everybody, even you, whether it's a good judgment or a bad judgment, right? So it says, being idle with things offered into idols. And that image in Daniel 3 is an idol. That image, that Revelation 13, that mark of the beast, that charagma, that's an idol, man. Because you got to understand, in the ancient world, it was physical idols, right? Now that we're living in the fourth, what they know as the fourth industrial revolution, Esau worships technology, right? That's why they shooting that in your arm. That's nanotechnology. Go watch the movie Kingsman, the first movie. This nigga literally, Samuel Jackson, gave the nigga wine. And they was like, do you want us to track him? He was like, nah, I put nanotechnology in his wine where I can track every movement. You'll be like, what? So They put nanotechnology. That jump shot, that's nanotechnology they put in so that the chip can be activated, man. Nanotechnology, if you go and do the research on nanobytes, nanotechnology, that shit that goes in devices, computers, laptops and iPads and phones. That's what they put in those things, not human bodies. Straight up, man. Man, I'm telling you, this is what it is, man, right? And I learned this from the elders, right? And from my own research that the spirit, that the Lord put his spirit on me to go and research. This is what they doing, man. So it says, with things offered unto idols. And that idol, like I said, we living in the fourth industrial revolution. The idol is that damn chip, man, that RFID chip. You're gonna be able to open doors, close doors. People gonna be worshiping that, man. They ain't gotta do nothing no more. They can wipe their hand over their front door and unlock it. Or if they still want to use their phone, they can. Right? If you gotta pay something, they take it right out the chip. You ain't gotta move, you ain't gotta go to them no more. Right? Everything is gonna be convenient. Right? People worship conveniency. Right? But it says, and they that consent unto them shall be had in derision and in reproach and trodden underfoot. So that's my point of getting this scripture. It says that when you consent is you agree to them. When you agree to this idol, it says that you're going to be had in derision. That derision, the word derision, is contemptuous, ridicule, and mockery. That's literally the definition. It says, and in reproach. The word reproach goes back to something like a mistake. Like, damn, why did I do that? That's a reproach. It says, and trodden underfoot. We know what trodden underfoot is. That means put to death. So they're going to laugh at you and mock you while you knowing that you made a mistake, and they still going to kill you. Why? Because population has to be under 500 million. According to Esau, according to the Georgia Guidestones, they want to maintain population under 500 million. So you got to go anyway. You got to go regardless. And it's not a coincidence how that's how many jump shots that they issued out, man. Go look how many jump shots was issued out. It was around 500 million. And they want docile people who actually just go, who would just go and take it. Because if you took that jump shot, you're going to take that chip. You can say whatever you want, right? Unless you freshly coming into the knowledge of the truth and you understand what you did. I would say that's the only reason. But if you took that mark already, you are doomed. That was your lot. That was your destiny. There's nowhere in the Bible where it says you're going to be forgiven for that. Nowhere. You can cut your arm off, you can cut your wrist off, it don't matter. This is spiritual, man. This ain't physical. Right? So it says, let's keep going on Daniel. Daniel chapter 3, and I'm gonna read 12 again. We passed 12. Oh, I'm gonna read 12 again because I want to touch on another part. There are certain Jews whom thou hast set over the affairs of the province of Babylon, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. These men, O king, have not regarded thee. They serve not thy God. Right? So basically, they don't choose to break the law, because what's the law? Because he's speaking about the Jews. So what's the law according to the Jews? It says in Exodus 20:3, thou shalt have no other gods before me. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image, which Nebuchadnezzar had. It was a golden image, which was another god according to the Chaldeans. It says, it says, like, thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image or any likeness of anything that is in the heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is under the water, or that is in the water under the earth. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them. And we just read what the word bow down means. It means to show weakness by agreeing to the demands of someone or something. So it says, thou shalt not bow down to them, thou shalt not agree to them, nor serve them. For I, the Lord thy God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity. He's calling this sin. Iniquity is sin on top of sin. Visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me, and showing mercy unto thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments. So you got to choose, man. Just like Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego had to choose. But they made a wise decision. And the Lord delivered them from making the wise decision. They chose the law, man. They chose the Most High God. You have to choose the Most High God, or you got to choose your material belongings. Yeah, you probably got a charger in a garage or in the driveway. You probably got a house with a garage. Your kids probably got their own rooms decorated. You're gonna be thinking about all that. Am I gonna let? Because when I say let it go, bro, there's gonna be a day literally where you have to leave everything in your house or apartment, everything, literally. You're just gonna have to literally stand up and go, or you're gonna be at work and you're gonna have to make a call and tell your wife or your spouse to meet you somewhere. Y'all will never be able to go back to that house again. Yahweh said that. He says, those that be on the rooftop, let them not go back down into their houses to get what they need. That's how serious it's going to be. He says, you that's on the rooftop. And that was symbolic for wherever you are, just leave it. So Daniel chapter 3 and verse 13. Then Nebuchadnezzar in his rage, in his fury, commanded to bring Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Then they brought these men before the king. So just like how Nebuchadnezzar got pissed off because they didn't want to worship the image, Esau is going to come down with that burning wrath also, right? Esau is going, that's what it said in Revelation 12 and 12, right? The devil knows he have but a short time. He coming down with great wrath, burning wrath. He going to come with that same attitude, man. Rage and fury, because you don't want to take that chip, man. So it says, verse 14, Nebuchadnezzar spake and said unto them, is it true, O Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego? Do not ye serve my gods? What's the answer to that? What's the law? Because you're going to have that law going through your head, right? Nor worship the golden image which I have set up. He like, nigga, you ain't going to, you want it, you still want all your stuff, right? You want to live, right? Well, bow down and worship the image in front of me now. That's the option you're going to have. You going to take this chip or what? What you going to do? You got to make a decision. Because in Sirach 4 and 28, it says, strive unto the truth. He says, strive for the truth unto death. And the truth is the law, man. Thy law is truth, what King David said. And the law tell you, thou shalt serve no other God. Precept upon precept, line upon line, here a little, there a little, man. So it says, let's see what they said. Now, if ye be ready, that at what time ye hear the sound of the cornet. So he says, now if you ready to do this, it says, now if ye be ready, that of what time ye hear the sound of the cornet, flute, harp, sackbut, psaltery, and dulcimer, and all kinds of music, ye fall down and worship the image which I have made. Well, but, so he's like, well, like, okay then. He says, but if ye worship not, ye shall be cast the same hour into the midst of a burning fiery furnace. And who is that God that shall deliver you out of my hand? This is, hey, bro, this is why I read this chapter, because it modernizing it. Because this is the same mentality Esau had. He like, nigga, I'm your God. That's why he want to brand you. He like, nigga, I'm your God. You're going to take this chip and I'm going to be your God. I'm going to know where you at all times because they got a tracking device. a GPS system in it. Everything your phone can do, they trying to put in your body. You can pay stuff with your phone. You can be tracked with your phone. Esau wants to be your God, man. He wants to be able to take your money out of you whenever he feel like it, right? He want to be able to tax you. And when you hear the word taxes, replace that with oppression. Because I'll give you an example. Esau makes the U.S. Treasury makes the money. What the fuck do he need it from you for? That's because he's using it to trap you. He's using it to oppress you. He uses it to oppress you. He offers the American dollars to other countries so he can oppress them. All right, you want this money? Do this. Accept Pepsi. Accept Coca-Cola. Accept Cheetos. Accept Lay's. That's how he do it, man. So it says, uh, who is you? It says, and who is this that God that shall deliver you out of my hand? Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego answered and said to the king, O Nebuchadnezzar, we are not careful to answer thee in this matter. He said, oh, they said, oh, king, yeah, we know you're a king. He said, but he said, we're not careful to answer you in this question. It means whatever we say, we don't care how it comes out. He said, in this matter. Why? Because you fucking up us serving our God. You trying to make us serve an image that ain't even real. That's what they was on, man. And that's the same kind of mentality you got to be on. That's the same mentality you have to be on. Man. So let's keep going. It says, if it be so, our God, whom we serve, is able to deliver us from the burning, right, fiery furnace, and he will deliver us out of thine hand, O king. And that's the same message we have for Esau. Take all this shit away. We don't care. The Lord gonna deliver us. The Lord gonna feed us. The Lord gonna do these things for us. So we have the same message for the king of Babylon. Do what you're gonna do quickly. The Lord gonna deliver us. He's gonna take care of us. Right? But then it also says, but if not, be it known unto thee, O king, that we will not serve thy God, nor worship the golden image which thou hast set up. Straight up. So they saying, just like we should be saying also, even if the Lord don't deliver us out of this matter, this situation, we still ain't doing it. Nigga, we gonna die for this. Right? We full of that. We full of honor of our God. We want to be in these situations. It's a great and honorable thing to die worshiping the Most High. Why? Because the scriptures talk about 100-fold. Dying from the Lord, dying in the Lord from henceforth. That's 100-fold. Right? Hey, and that calls for another precept. Let me get one more precept. That calls for that Sirach I was speaking about. Sirach 4 and 28. All right, Con, this is Sirach chapter 4 and 28. It says, strive for the truth unto death, and the Lord will fight for thee. So this is the understanding that they had. They was laced up with this understanding already, right? And they passed it down to us. Strive unto the truth, strive for the truth unto death. We just went over what the truth is. The truth is thy law. The law says you cannot worship idols. It also says you can't get any incisions in your hand, in your body. So it's a double jeopardy. It's a double no-no. All right, let's keep going. It says, verse 19, then was Nebuchadnezzar full of fury, and form of his visage was changed against Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Therefore he spake and commanded that they should heat the furnace 7 times more than it wont to be heated. Right? And when you go into the song of the three holy children, it said that it was turned up to like 1,000 degrees, right? They was putting certain things in it to make it hotter, right? There are certain things you can put in fire to make it hotter. And that's what they was doing, man. Just like Esau can do today, he can blow, he can create some powder and he'll blow it in your face and it'll make you feel like you on fire, but you're really not. You'll be running around talking about put it out, put it out, put it out. And nothing is wrong with you. You would look like a nut in front of everybody. But that powder really made you feel like that. Straight up, man. So let me keep going. It says, verse 20, and he commanded the most mighty men that were in his army to bind Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and to cast them into the burning furnace, right? And when you go into the song of our three holy children, let me just pull it up right here, right? Because we're gonna get that. That is a beautiful thing, what they did in that situation, right? So I'm reading one more time. And he commanded the most mighty men that were in his army to bind Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and to cast them into the burning fiery furnace. So this is the song of the three holy children. It's only one chapter, verse 23. Verse 23, it says, and the king's servants that put them in ceased not to make the oven hot with rosin, pitch, tow, and small wood. And this is what made it hotter. Rosin, pitch, tow, and small wood. It says, so that the flame streamed forth above the furnace 40 and 9 cubits. So it got higher, taller and taller. So we can use our creativity, our imagination, and can see they was on a tall, like hill like thing with a big a big hole in the ground, and they was looking over down into it, right? So it was a big ass furnace, man. And this is what scared the people, right? Like today, guillotine scared the people, right? So it says, so that the flame streamed forth above the furnace 40 and 9 cubits, and it passed through and burned those Chaldeans. This is in the three holy children, and it's calling them Chaldeans still. It says the Chaldeans it found above the furnace. But the angel of the Lord came down into the oven together with Azarias and his fellows, and smote the flame of the fire out of the oven. All praises to the Most High. Angel came in there and was blowing the wind, right? He was blowing it. It says, let me keep going. It says, and made the mist of the furnace as it had been a moist whistling wind, so that the fire touched them not at all, neither hurt nor troubled them. Right? Then the three out of the mouth praised, glorified, and blessed God in the furnace, saying, and it goes over, it was a long prayer. They just kept saying, oh ye Lord. I'll read it. It says, saying, blessed art thou, O Lord God of our fathers, and to be praised and exalted above all forever. And blessed is thy glorious and holy name, and to be praised and exalted all above all forever. Blessed art thou in the temple of thine holy glory, and to be praised and glorified above all forever. This is what they kept saying. They kept saying it while they was in this furnace, right? While Nebuchadnezzar at the top, him and his soldiers looking down like, what the fuck? What's going on? Why they not burning? This is a perfect example of the Lord delivering you, right? This is a story that we use to encourage other people and to build our own faith. Right? They was in a fire and didn't get touched. This is a record. And how we know this is true? Because if you read Daniel chapter 4, that's a record of Nebuchadnezzar that he wrote himself. Nebuchadnezzar wrote that. Daniel chapter 4. He said those words. He wrote those words down. It was just all put together and called the book of Daniel. But these are records, man. So let's keep going. So Daniel chapter 3 and 21. Then it says, then these men were bound in their coats, their hosen, and their hats, and their other garments, and were cast into the midst of the burning fiery furnace. Therefore, because the king's commandment was urgent, and the furnace exceedingly hot, the flame of the fire, slew those men that took Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. So, you hear that, man? It tells you straight up. I'm gonna read it again. It says, therefore, because the king's commandment was urgent and the furnace was exceedingly hot, the flame of the fire slew those men that took up Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Those mighty men, that fire tore their ass up, man. But it did not touch Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, right? And it tells you, if you read Psalms 91, the Most High said he's going to protect us in the last days the same way. He said he's going to give his angels charge over thee to keep thee in all thy ways, lest thou dash thy foot against a stone. Man, it's beautiful to read, and it's beautiful to keep reading these same chapters. That's why, and when you able to quote them like that, that means they're primarily on your mind. That means in the time of that situation, you can think about those scriptures, and you're like, man, the Lord got me via angels. Straight up, man. The scripture says, wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy time. But if you not reading, what's gonna keep you stable? Straight up, man. What's gonna keep you stable? You have to read. Blessed is he that readeth. Right? And it also says, just to balance it out, those that hear the words of these prophecies. Right? So the fact that you listen and also is a blessing. Right? So let's keep going. It says, verse 24, then Nebuchadnezzar the king was astonished and rose up in haste and spake and said unto his counselors, did not we cast three men bound in the midst of a fire? They answered and said unto the king, true, O king. He answered and said, lo, I see 4 men loose, walking in the midst of the fire. And it was the 3 holy children, and like we read in the 3 holy children, chapter 1 and 23 down to 28, the 4th person was an angel. So Nebuchadnezzar is giving record that he see a 4th person in there. So without even reading the Song of the 3 Holy Children, it confirms that there was an extra deity down there, right? So these records are true, man. Nebuchadnezzar said he see a 4th person, and in the Song of the 3 Holy Children, it said that it was a 4th person in there. It said that there was an angel in there blowing the wind, the fire away from them, right? Well, let's keep going. It says, he answered and said, lo, I see 4 men loose walking in the midst of the fire, and they made no hurt. The form of the 4th is like the Son of God. Ooh, like the Son of God. It says, then Nebuchadnezzar came near these to the mouth of the burning fiery furnace, and spake and said, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, ye servants of the Most High, come forth. He like, come out of there and come hither. Then Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego came forth of the midst of the fire. Now he's testing them because they should be dead already. So he's trying to make sure, he's like, hey, come out of there right quick. And they came out of there. Right? And if you don't have this kind of faith, yeah, you're going to die in there. And that's symbolically, you're going to die out here. You're not going to have no protection. You have to have faith. The Isaiah 10 and 20, it says that in the last days, when all this hell breaks loose, it says, we shall no more again stay upon him that smote us, but we shall stay upon the Holy One of Israel. We're coming up on a time where you're going to have to solely depend on the Lord, not your belongings that you got. Because let's say you are in a bad situation right now. You in a badass situation, or you can go sell your belongings. You can go get a title loan on your car, get a couple thousand off that. You can go sell your belongings. You can do a garage sale and sell all your stuff in your house. You can do that. Or you can use your car to go get a job, right? Your ID, your wallet. You can use all these things to go get a job to make money. But we're coming on a time where you have to forsake all that shit. So you have to solely depend on the Most High. And that's what Isaiah 10 is talking about. You're going to solely depend on the Most High. right? You need your ID, social security, and birth certificate. So that means you're dependent on Esau as of now still. But when you throw all that stuff away when you don't need it, you're not gonna when you leave, you're not gonna take your wallet and ID. You're not gonna care to have that shit because it's not gonna profit you nothing, not even for a bonfire. So like, let me keep going though. It says, verse 27, and the princes, governors, and captains, and the king's counselors gathered together and saw these men upon whose body and the fire had no power, nor was an hair of their head singed, neither were their coats changed, nor the smell of the fire had passed on them. Right? Shalakia. It says, then Nebuchadnezzar spake and said, blessed be the Lord, blessed be God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. And this is the same thing Nebuchadnezzar said to Daniel. When Daniel showed him those two dreams, he said the same thing. He says, blessed be the God of Daniel. And he said, whoever touched Daniel, they're going to get put to death from me. And he's giving them the same praise, right? And these heathens, and it's not going to be Esau, right? It's going to be the rest of the heathen nations that's going to see the Lord deliver us, right? And they're going to say the same thing. Blessed be the Lord God. We heard that God is with you. Can we? It says, we will come with you, for we have heard God is with you. That's what they're going to be saying. They're going to say the same thing Nebuchadnezzar saying. Some Edomites also. Straight up, man. I'm trying to think of the scripture that actually says that. Uh, Like it actually tells you how they're going to be. They're going to come to us and do that, man. Blessed be your Lord. Matter of fact, I can just go to Lamentations right quick, because in Lamentation, it literally tells you how the Lord was going to give us fame and praise in the land where we was carried captive. Oh, Salakia, Zephaniah. Bear with me, we almost out of here. So this is uh Zephaniah 3 and 18. I will gather them that are sorrowful for the solemn assembly. Right? That's his 1/3, him gathering his 1/3 together. He says, who are of thee to whom the reproach, right, of it was a burden. Behold, at that time I will undo all that afflict thee. And they afflict us by the things that they're about to try to have us do, right? The King Alfred plan, right? Rex 84 plan. That's all set up for Jake. Hey, and I challenge you to go look at these things. It's something to look at. Go look up the King Alfred plan also, and see how it literally talks about how if there's any kind of natural disaster or uprising, that they was going to round up the blacks, Hispanics, and natives and take them to FEMA camps. That's what it say. You don't believe me? Go look it up. I'm giving you the tools. So it says, and gather, Salakia, verse 19, behold, at that time I will undo all that afflict thee, and I will save her that halted, and gather her that was driven out, and I will get them. This is the point right here. I will get them praise and fame in every land where they have been put to shame. And at that time I will bring you again, even in the time that I gather you, for I will make you a name and praise among all the people of the earth, when I turn back your captivity before your eyes, saith the Lord. And this is the same thing Nebuchadnezzar was doing. He was giving Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, starting with the Most High, praise and fame in the land that they was held captive. And the Lord is going to do us the same way, man. Straight up. So Daniel chapter 3, going back to Daniel chapter 3, let's finish this up. It says, verse 28, then Nebuchadnezzar spake and said, blessed be the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, who have sent his angel and delivered his servants that trusted in him. And I can get 1,000 precepts right now where the Lord told us he was going to deliver us that trust in him and have changed the king's word, right? And what's his word? His decree, right? It says, and yielded their bodies that they might not serve nor worship in God, any God except their own God, right? All praises to the Most High. Straight up, man. And if you read in the next chapter, like I said, that's the record. That's the the record of Nebuchadnezzar himself, man. And he says it in that chapter too. Blessed be the Lord God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, which proves that this was a true record, man. The dream being told unto him and him casting him into the fire, but nothing happened unto him. This book is real, man. It says, therefore, I make a decree that every people, nation, and language which speak anything amiss against the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego shall be cut in pieces, and their houses shall be a dunghill, because there is no other God that can deliver after this sort. But this being modernized is going to be all nations are going to serve us when they see that the Most High God is with us, when He give us that praise and fame in the land where we was held captive. Our reward is going to be the heathen for a possession, inheritance, right? Not just whoever say something amiss, which is wrong about them, is going to be cut in pieces. We're actually going to get a reward. It says, made a dunghill, because there is no other God that can deliver up after this sort. Straight up, man. He's giving homage, praise, honor, and glory to the Most High God, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, man. And let's think about that name. Bro, that name got so much power, man. That name is so powerful. Sometimes I'd be afraid to say that name. I ain't never in my life been afraid to say that name. But when you say that name, you can just feel the power. Not only can you feel it, you can see it. Look at everybody waking up to that name. You don't see niggas out there on the highways and byways in the name of Ahia, Yahweh, Yahshua. You don't see that, man. But you see in the name of Yahweh, Yahweh Shah. And them brothers is undefeated out there. So verse 30, it says, then the king promoted Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in the province of Babylon. Right? Straight up. Now, let me read the next chapter. I'm going to read I'm going to read the first 3 verses and I'm going to close out. Just to show y'all, man. Right? This is his letter. It says, Nebuchadnezzar, the king, unto all people, nations, and languages that dwell in all the earth, peace be multiplied unto you. Now this nigga sounding like an Israelite because what he witnessed. Nebuchadnezzar witnessed that the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob is real and true. And it says, I thought it good to show the signs and wonders that the high God have wrought toward me. Right? It says, how great are his signs and how mighty are his wonders. His kingdom is an everlasting kingdom, and his dominion is from generation to generation. That's what the king of Babylon said, a Hamite. He confessed. What did Yahweh Shah say when he returned? Every tongue, everybody's going to bow and confess, man. Just like he made Nebuchadnezzar confess, man. This is the greatest kingdom on earth, and the Lord broke him, man. The Lord broke him by showing that he's real. That's all the Lord got to do, man. But Esau already know he real. Esau shitting in his pants right now. You better believe that, man. You best believe that, man. I was on an hour and 24 minutes, man. But Lord willing, we got some edification here. Because it actually encouraged me and it built up my faith too. And Lord willing, it did the same thing with you. Because we are here, man. Hey, before I end this, go look up this CBDC. Go look up how the RFID, go look up, don't even worry about CBDC. Go look up, Google science and chips. Government, science and chips, and watch everything that pops up. Read one of those articles, and I'm telling you, the mark of the beast is here already. In Babylon the Great. It just needs to be manifest. It needs to be brought to the light. And we're there already too, or we wouldn't be able to Google it and see it right now. So we here, man. Don't say you won't, pray that you don't, man. Shalom.